everyone, it's Kerry back with you today. So I've been playing with one of Renee's new kits. This is the Floral Fabric Cards Set 1. Now there are 7 colours in this kit and I have had so much fun creating all of these beautiful little fabric sample cards. And the thing that I love about it is you get to use the tiniest little scrap of lace or fabric or whatever. These ones have a pretty back on them that you can of course still journal onto. You could leave the top open and turn it into a pocket or the side, or you can just have them blank and then just attach them to your journal like a tuck spot or whatever. Now I've created a couple of other things here which I'll show you in a separate video. So today I'm just going to show you the basics of the journal cards. Now they come, I'll just pick one of these pages to show you. So Renee has designed them this way, with one being upside down, and that is so that you can cut it across here and you can have these back to back and then that works as a front and back, or you could cut them long ways and have a decorative front and back, and because they are joined at the bottom you just need to fold them up and then you don't need to cut them out and try to match them up together. So that's why they are like that, and it's the same with these pages. If you want two decorative panels front and back, you could have the front and back the same, or you could cut these two out together and have different ones front and back. There are of course different sizes in the kit, so we've got a full page one here, and then there's some half page ones like these, and that would just make a super pretty page in a journal. So lots of variety and choice with those. So we're going to make one of these small ones today, I think. I'll just pick a card. Okay, so I've picked this one today, which is sort of the fairly neutral colour. And the first thing we're going to do is just trim everything out. Okay, so I've trimmed that out pretty bodgily. You can see I've still got quite a substantial white line there, but I'm not worried about that at the moment. And then the next thing I'm going to do is, do I want to cut that in half first? Yep, I think I'll cut it in half as well. So then I'm just going to fold my card and line it up as best as I can. I will be trimming a little bit more off, so I'm not worried if it's not perfect. Now before I go any further, I'm just going to ink around the inside so that when I glue it down, if there is a little bit of white showing on the inside, you won't be able to see it as much with the ink. Right, now before I close these, I want to attach my fabric because I'm going to be using a stapler, and with it being open I can staple, and then my staples will be hidden on the inside and won't come through to the back of my project. So I've just grabbed some scraps of lace and bits and pieces here. Now you don't need to use lace or fabric, you could actually just use labels or other pieces of scrap paper and that would look cool as well. In fact I might do that on one of these, we'll see how we go. And you just need the tiniest little pieces to cover these squares. So I've got some leftover pieces of embroidered trim that we sell in the shop. Sometimes when we get down to the very last little bit and there's not enough to make a metre, I get to keep the extras. So that's kind of nice. So you can see it's just a tiny little piece. I might have some of this one. And this gold leaf braid as well, I think. Do we want that one? Yep. So tiny little pieces. And then all I'm going to do is, I've got my Tim Holtz Tiny attached here, but you could use any stapler, and if you don't want to use a stapler you could use glue. And I'm just going to line up my little fabric piece and pop some staples in my stapler would be handy. Right, try that again. Now I'm just going to trim this edge off because I want the border to show around my box. There we go. Now if your staples aren't flat, you might want to use a pair of pliers to squish them down, or a hammer. These ones are actually pretty good. So then you just need to decide if you want to turn it into a pocket or just close it up and have it as a card. Now if you are going to make it into a pocket, I recommend that you cover these with a piece of tape or another piece of paper, just so they don't catch on your card when you're putting things in. But for today, I think I'm just going to leave them as journaling cards. So I'm just going to take some glue stick. And glue that closed. Now I'm not going to press too hard over those staples because I don't want them to stick through my paper here. And the edges actually don't look too bad now. But to finish it off, I'm just going to go around the edges of the outside with the ink. There we go, and I just need to sit that aside to dry, but isn't that so pretty? And so easy, and I love that you can use up your scraps. So let's do the same with this one. Should we use paper this time for something different? So what I've got here are a couple of old French receipt type things, so I think I might use those here. And just trying to work out. I think I want to tear it rather than cut it. So I could cover that whole section. But I like the edges showing, so I'm just going to tear it down a bit more. I think I just want a piece like that. Yes. Now you could glue it or staple it. I think I'm going to staple it still. So all these other little pieces that I'm tearing off will just go into my scrap bin to be used on other projects. There we go, so our little vintage paper editions there. So you don't have to just use fabric or laces, although they do look very pretty. And then same thing, I could turn it into a pocket, but I think I'm just going to glue it. You could actually also turn them into little notebooks. You could just pop some pages in the middle and then you'd have a pretty little notebook. Now some of these are a little bit pokey outy. So just give them a squish with my pliers. And then we'll just close it up with some glue. And then to finish off, I'll just hide that white edge that I was going to trim off with some ink. There we go. So we have another pretty little card there. Just love how they come out. So as you can see, these are the half-page ones, and I've just popped some laces on these and left the backs with that plain writing panel. But you would do these in pretty much the same way. I've just used staples again. I had to use a staple with a longer reach to be able to go all the way in here, but that wasn't a problem. And same with this one, just pop some lovely trims on the bottom there as well. So I love how quick and easy these are to put together and that they use up so many scraps. I will leave a link in the description box below to Renee's fabric floral cards or floral fabric cards, and I'll be back in another video to show you these other projects that I have created, although I'll give you a quick little sneak peek now because they are super cute. So this one I've just turned into a little folio with lots of little samples inside. So that was fun. And then this one I've turned into like a sample sort of document where I've clipped my samples in so that they can be taken out. And again, I'll be back to show you both of these in another video. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you again next time. Bye.